We are ready.
Hi guys, welcome to Be So Creative Tuesday Tips at 2. I'm Sandy, and we are going to talk a little bit about my good friend, the seam ripper. Okay, my good friend, the seam ripper. Once upon a time, when I was learning how to sew, I told my mom that I was pretty sure I was never ever going to be a successful seamstress. I was, however, going to be able to get the gold medal in seam ripping. Turns out being able to seam rip helped me be a better seamstress because it meant that I wasn't afraid to undo what I had done. And now I have a tendency to use the seam ripper as a different kind of tool than just an undoing. We're going to start with undoing first. And I want to introduce you to this new little seam ripper guy. It's from Riley Blake Designs, and I just met it and we are fast friends already. Apparently it's particularly good for those of us who have arthritis or otherwise are uncomfortable in our joints when we do fine work. It sits on my hand like this, across my finger that way, or I can flip it around and do this way. It's got a nice little silicone tip which nestles snug on it, on the actual blade portion. And I like the silicone tip because it's not going to crack. So this guy is a standard old friend and I have multiples in my drawer, but almost all of them, this top cover has cracked and broken, and now it's just like a tangled, scary mess of things that are gonna bite me when I open my drawer. Which is why I'm extra fond of my little silicone tip friend here. The anatomy of the seam ripper we're going to look at for just a second. This little ball, if your seam ripper is missing this little red tip, it's time for a replacement. Seriously. This down here is where we've got our little tiny blade. If it takes much pressure at all to break your thread, it's time for a new seam ripper. And then we've got this sharp point right here, which lets us pick up or pick between the stitches that we're working on. So this guy being a little bulky means that my hand doesn't have to get, so this fine pinching sort of thing that gets uncomfortable when joints are sad is not necessary, because I can just put it on my finger and it just stays right there with me. So we are going to start in quilt land, and oh, I lost my white ones. Okay, we're going to have to go with these guys. So in quilt land, when you are unripping a seam, it's tempting to want to pull it like this and see your stitches and keep pulling. But that is actually stressing the fibers in here. So this is where you're going to start getting skewed things, especially if you happen to be on bias like in half square triangles and things. So a preferred method, and you see how this is just sitting right here on my finger, is I'm just going to cut every second or third stitch. This one happens to be a really long stitch when you're working on those little pieces that I lost in the store somewhere. Then you're a lot closer, but it means that when you flip it over, again, that nice little pointed edge is just reaching right under, and that lifts right out all the way down the seam. So that means that I don't have to stress my fibers. I'm going to be able to re-stitch this into my quilt block. If this is on the bias, I'm not going to have changed its shape. Now, we've got all of these little loose guys. Where are we? There we are, little loose guys. And sometimes people feel really sad about picking them up, and that's where these are so fun, because they're like thread erasers, and they will just collect those all together, which is really hard to see white on white on white. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it. Oh, there we go. So see how it's pulling it right out of there, and now I can just set those aside. And they're stuck on my little nubby thing, and I can just say, all right, everybody out of the pool. Okay, when we are working on a serged seam, I have found that I want, again, I'm going to turn my seam ripper so that the ball is up and my point is down. I want to just come through and slice those threads. I also find that is not very effective, and I have to go back and do it anyway. I mean, do a different level anyway, and makes me sad. So I've learned, much like that last one we did, I'm just gonna slip under my 2 edges right there and cut that, come down a couple and cut that. And these are the anchoring stitches on the serge stitch shape. And so once I've got those guys cut, I flip it over and I can lift up my thread and everybody comes out. Yay! And now I'm ready to sew it again or whatever it is that I need to be doing. So, nice little friend there. The other thing I really like to do, let's look at this big pile. This is my bin of random. These are some men's shirts that I have collected from thrift shops. As you can see, there's like a tonal thing going on with them because this particular set is going to become a dress for my daughter. I really like the remaking of things. It makes me excited. The creative challenge of working within a framework and getting it to move into another direction. So this is my big bin. Most of these guys have already been harvested, but I wanted to show you some of the other seam ripping techniques as related to harvesting thrift shop things. Okay, my fun little friend here again, getting the button off. The button has, usually, like these guys have this extra stabilizer, which if you're putting on a collar button, go ahead and do that. It makes life much better and you don't rip through the fabric right there. I have a tendency to bend and pull so that my button sits upright and I can just lay my seam ripper point right on those lines. And you can see I'm kind of working it, but if I just catch the one, then I'm able to lift my button and I can stress those threads a little bit, and now I'm able to get in underneath them. I have tried cutting the threads from the top of the button, but I've wrecked a lot of buttons that way. So there's my preferred button harvesting technique on that one, and it will just lift off. Okay, now we're gonna pretend like the seam, like the sleeve is still attached to the seam, and for whatever reason, I want to harvest the sleeve and the seam. What you actually have here is I've just cut the fabric right at that seam because I was not anticipating wanting that little bit extra, but there have been cases where I wanted every possible inch. So this is where we're going to flip it around. Now my ball is down and I'm going to nestle it. Let's get it started. Okay, I'm going to nestle my ball so that it is buried in the seam, and my pointing part is like in this little lip space. And then with the right tension underneath, I can just, this is the danger. This is why working on selvage is such a nice way to learn how to use your seam ripper, because it was going to be wrecked anyway. Give me just a second to get started again, right here. Today, it's a no-go. But normally, I can just slide my seam ripper in. There we go. And we can just make our roll right along. So, I think it's because we don't have the weight of the sleeve. Yep, that's my theory. Okay, so, psych. That was only a sort of demonstration. Okay, I want you to look at this jacket for just a second. Let's pull it out so you can see it better.
Yeah, there's a glove.
Okay, so this jacket, particularly this one, and if you like this pattern, we can totally order it for you. And if you really like this pattern and you say, Sandy, I want a class in this, then you better pipe up in the comments so I know that. Okay, this guy is the jacket that they have built out of reclaimed denim. And that is a lot of fun for me too, but sometimes I find that the shape of a leg is not the shape that I need for a jacket. So right here, we've got my brother-in-law's pants. Can you tell that he works hard and that he wears his pants all the way out? But what I've got right in here is some of this fun pocket stuff that I would like to use potentially right in here on my jacket. But in order to get at that, I need to open up the seams. And that's where, again, my new little friend is gonna help me. Because this is a lot of stitching. So, we're gonna start with our point, and then we're gonna lay the ball in, and because this guy is so heavy, I'm confident we're just gonna be able to like go and go and go. See that? Isn't that so much fun? If your seam ripper won't do that, get a new one. The blade is dull. Okay, then I'm gonna tuck it in there and start with my pointy end, and then see how this like gives me a whole little knobby, so I can just pivot it in my hands as I need to in order to open this next one up, and then tuck the ball in again and up on the counter. The angle's a little weird for me. There we go. And I just run it right through again. Now we're down into the last one. Okay, so this is a place where when you pull hard, you can kind of see, can you see where the stitches are? When you can see where the stitches are, I also want you to know that you can put your, just pick up one stitch at a time if that's what's necessary. But it's not, so we get to go like a zipper. Yay! Almost. Oh, I remember, this is the one that I started doing from the inside. So, do you see how I've got this? It's just lifting right out. And then I can pull that open and run my seam ripper right in there. So, like I said, we are fast friends already. And now, as I keep going, I have actually gained another inch in my salvage material, which is useful for me when I want to make sure that I can actually get all the way to the side seam or whatever. So that's what I've got for you today. So rules of the seam ripper. The little ball protects the fabric underneath from being caught by your pointer. The little pointer catches just the thread, and if you can't move your seam ripper easily through your fabric, get a new one. It's dull. All right? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
All right, well, did y'all learn something? On our comments, I have to tell you, we had people say, I didn't know what that little red ball was for, and so now Sandy has taken care of the mystery of the little red ball on the seam ripper. So whoop whoop, thank you, Sandy. I thought she did a great job, and I hope y'all learned something. So I told you that on Tuesday's tips for the next few weeks, we're going to be doing some giveaways. So today we've got some really pretty little bundles, kind of, what do we say, seafoamy colors.
Foggy seafoam.
Foggy seafoam, beautiful.
Northern California style.
Oh, okay, Northern California style. So there we go. So this is our little fabric bundles. We have everybody's name in here. Again, Sharon has been furiously writing, so thank you, Sharon. All right, so our first person is Martha Hill. There we go, Martha. One of those is for you. So we'll put that aside. All right. Our second one is Cheryl West. Whoop, whoop. Way to go, Cheryl. One more. Let's see who this one is. Oh, and Karen Oman. Woo! Okay. So that is our drawing for today. And we just so appreciate the fact that you guys join us on our Tuesday's tips at 2. I always learn something when the girls present their goodies, and so I hope that you do too. Remember that we've got some fun things coming up, so please pay attention to our Facebook and Instagram page, because we do have some fun stuff that we're fixing to be announcing. And remember, right now we are in curbside only, so no no customers in the store. We're sorry to say that. And we will be having our comments sold on Saturday morning. And last but not least, I just want to say thank you so very much to all of you who sent me such beautiful birthday wishes yesterday. You have no idea how that made me feel. I just felt all of your love being sent my way, and so I'm very, very grateful for the birthday wishes. And I'm going to give a shout out to Stephanie, our Stephanie, because today is our Stephanie's birthday. So happy birthday, Stephanie. We're so blessed to have you on our team, and we love you dearly. So if y'all are out and about and on Facebook, be sure and give a shout out to Stephanie for her birthday. So anyway, we love you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you soon. So love you guys. Thanks so much.